The first few times he wrote it down from memory. John was often fiddling around at work, staying up late, and maybe his brain was just playing a cruel joke. But the feeling didn't go away. He woke up at the same time, exactly 3:14 a.m. At first, it was just a feeling, vague, unpleasant, but elusive. As if someone was standing in the next room, silent, not moving. He turned on the nightlight, looking around the bedroom. No one. But when he turned off the light, his skin was covered in goosebumps again, like a shadow in the closet, trembling, changing its shape, as if someone was waiting for him to close his eyes again. A week later, he could no longer sleep. The feeling intensified. Now it was so obvious that he almost felt a gaze on the back of his head. But pride turned. No one was there. But he knew it was something. And one night, he decided to check. He put the camera before going to bed. And at 3:14 a.m., she recorded something he didn't expect to see. John set the camera right in front of his bed, turned on the recording, and forced himself to sleep. He didn't want to know the truth, but he couldn't stand the unknown even more. In the morning, he woke up exhausted, with a headache and a feeling of atmosphere that wouldn't go away. His heart was beating faster as he picked up the phone and began to rewind the recording. The first 2 hours were normal. He saw himself tossing and turning, his position changing, but there was nothing strange in the room. And then, 3:14 a.m. There was movement from the corner. At first, he didn't understand what it was. But when he slowed down the footage, he saw it. A figure. Tall, dark, standing right next to his bed. Close, leaning forward. John held his breath. He was asleep, but the figure was looking right at him. For a long time, silently, as if waiting. The minutes passed, but the thing did not move. And just before dawn, it flickered, blurred, disappeared into the shadow of the corner, as if it had never been there. But now John knew the truth. He was no longer alone in this house. The next night, John couldn't sleep. How could he? He saw something standing above him, watching, waiting, and if it disappeared before dawn. Where did it go? He decided to stay awake until the morning. He sat in bed, staring at the corner of the room where the shadow had disappeared. But at some point, his eyes closed. His body betrayed him, and he fell into a dark, sticky sleep. When he opened his eyes, the room was strange. He saw himself, lying in bed, his breathing even, his face calm. He was standing above himself. His heart sank with panic. He tried to move, to scream, but he couldn't. He was locked, not in his body, but in the place where the figure had stood before, where he stood now, watching himself. Hours passed. The darkness outside the window began to lighten. John felt his consciousness tremble, and when the first rays of sunlight touched the floor, he disappeared into the shadows of the corner. In the morning, he woke up in his bed, breathing heavily, but he knew. Now he was on both sides. Now he was the one watching, and the next night he would stand by the bed again, waiting for someone else to come.